We're only 3 episodes in so far, but I gotta admit, this season's off to a little bit of a rocky start. I think the twists are getting a little repetitive at this point. The same team keeps losing over and over again, and now there is a medevac that's just kind of slowing everything down. But despite its repetitiveness, this cast is still pretty wild overall, and I think we have some of the more interesting characters that we've seen cast in a while, so the interest is definitely still there. Now, before we dive into episode 3, make sure you're subscribed below just so you can stay tuned as we continue through with this season. Now, let's get started. Let's kick things off with the Purple Tribe, where we see that Bhanu is really struggling with his social game. I mean, this man is an absolute hot mess of a player, y'all. It doesn't seem like he has a single strategic bone in his body, and it also doesn't seem like he really grasps the concept of the game or tribal council or anything.
They're saying like, oh, you don't have to like give honest answers to Jeff Brooks. You can just give him any kind of crap. But I can't do that. I'm not an actor. I can't do that.
I mean, look, I kind of get it, because sometimes all that metaphoric jargon that they use at Tribal Council annoys me a little bit too, but damn.
They said that you should know when to, what is it? When to show, when to shut, something like that. I don't know what that proverb, something, you know, fold, huh? You have to know when to fold, when to hold.
Bhanu knows that he's on the bottom of his tribe right now, so we see him trying his best to try to work with people, especially when he goes up to Kenzie, but he just hits a complete wall. Like, this man is literally crying actual tears, but she's just paying him dust back. Which, now that I think about it, that may actually be a bad move on her part moving forward. I mean, even if Bhanu is a liability out there, you don't have to be that obvious with it, you know? Q does a slightly better job at this. I mean, it looks like Q is at least trying to be supportive and somewhat encouraging.
I know for a fact that you're a loyal person and a loyal vote. I would rather have somebody that's loyal that I can coach up to say, at Tribal Council, this is what you say.
Meanwhile, on the Green Tribe, it doesn't seem like there's too much drama going on with them right now. They have been winning challenges and getting along and singing Taylor Swift songs and all that good stuff, so there doesn't seem to be too much drama going on over there, other than the fact that Jim just found her tribe's beware advantage. Of course, it is completely useless until her team loses, so for now, she's without a vote. I just feel like we've gotten so little strategic talk from this team so far that it's kind of hard to picture them losing as a tribe anytime soon. But on the other hand, it's also kind of hard for me to see any one of them winning the game, just because we've gotten a whole lot of nothing from all of them so far, which may not be their fault. It may just be the edit we've gotten. But still, it's hard to predict what's going to happen with the Green Tribe, so we're just going to have to see. Meanwhile, on the Yellow Tribe, it's looking like Venus is still playing at the bottom. It looks like she's trying to slowly chip away at Hunter and Tevin's game, since they're playing the best obvious social games on their tribe so far. But the problem is she doesn't really have anybody to turn to except for Randen, and pretty soon he is going to be no help at all. The players all go off to compete in the next immunity challenge, and this one was really hard to watch, especially if you're like me and you were rooting for the underdogs, the Purple Yanu Tribe. The Yanu Tribe was doing so good at the beginning of the match, only to suffer a devastating loss at the very end. I hated that for Yanu, y'all. I really did. I was actually really wanting to see a different team go to Tribal Council, just so we could see how everybody would behave when the heat was applied to them. But alas, the Yanu Tribe is set to head into Tribal Council for the 3rd time in a row. And this loss hits Q so hard that he is damn near ready to give up and just pretty much quit the entire game. Look, nobody likes a sore loser, I know. But I also think it's very real and very human to just not want to play anymore when you have it in your head that you're gonna lose every single time. But even though Q is really feeling down and is ready to go, pretty much nobody on his tribe actually wants him to leave. It seems like most people really want Bhanu gone instead, which is going to make things a little bit complicated when he's picked to go on the secret island mystery journey thing. I don't know what they call it. Bhanu, Liz, and Ben all head out there together, and just like his team predicted, Bhanu pretty much immediately starts spilling all his tribe's tea as soon as he gets out there. He's giving all the details about who's aligned with who's in charge, who's out there running shit. And he really makes sure that he throws Kenzie's ass under the bus more than anybody else's. So after this, I really don't see Kenzie's long game being too good anymore, unfortunately.
And Kenzie's a mastermind. Kenzie is running the show at our camp. Kenzie is the one who's actually like influencing Tiffany.
The brains.
Yeah.
Normally, I would be all for some mess like this if it was done strategically, but honestly, I don't think Bhanu has a tactile bone in his body at this moment. I think that man had it up to here, and he was just spilling pure, unfiltered emotion at that point. So for that reason, I have to respect that move just a little bit less, but still, it was very nice and heartwarming just seeing him be truly himself and really authentic out there. Because Lord knows I would be so afraid to be doing all that crying and shit and being on my knees on the camera. I couldn't do it. Bhanu and Ben both come up short at the challenge, and so they both unfortunately lose their votes for now, which really sucks for Bhanu because now he's going back to camp empty-handed, without a vote, and with a big target on his back. Now, if it were me, if I were in Bhanu's position, I would lie to my tribe and tell them that I got an extra vote or an advantage or something like that anyway, just to throw them off. I would be trying anything I could to get the target off of me and slightly get it redirected towards literally anybody else. But we all know that Bhanu is a terrible liar. I mean, he does kind of try lying about his vote to the tribe at first, but then he immediately buckles and folds when applied just the tiniest bit of pressure.
You lost your vote?
I didn't want to tell in front of them. I cannot lie to you, man.
No, I'm with you.
Ben, on the other hand, pulls his lie off perfectly. He's able to tell this half-truth, half-lie to his tribe and make it seem like he's oblivious to whether or not he lost a vote or gained one. I loved this move from Ben. I thought it was so well thought out, especially since Survivor has pulled that trick before in the past where they didn't tell the person until they were there at the voting booth whether or not they were going to vote. On top of that, Ben has now given everyone else the disadvantage of not really knowing how many votes are truly at play. Now, this could easily turn back and bite him in the ass if there is a tribe swap or merge or something happening soon and people compare notes to what really happened. That could spell out trouble for him, but for now, we'll just have to see. Meanwhile, it's still looking pretty likely that Bhanu is going to be the one leaving from the Purple Tribe. Bhanu's definitely still the top option, but Q does still want Kenzie out because he sees her as more of a threat in the overall game, whereas Bhanu is just a temporary liability. I can see them both being decent options from Q's perspective, but he's just not going to make that call without Tiffany, and I do think it's very important for the two of them to stick together and make that decision together. The crazy thing is, none of this ends up even mattering at all because in the final hour, Jeff comes up to Randen and lets him know that unfortunately he's going to have to leave the game because of a medical injury. Apparently, he had lost some feeling in his arm, which could end up being some serious nerve injury, so the show unfortunately decided to pull him from the game. It is also important to note that Randen's Beware Advantage also left the game with him, so for now, there are only 2 idols that really remain at play. It was definitely a lackluster way to end this episode, but if I had to guess, I would say that Bhanu probably would have left anyway. It just really didn't seem like Tiffany was ready to nudge on her vote, so I think Q would have folded eventually. So that wraps up episode 3 of Survivor 46. Once again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below just so you can stay updated. Things are definitely starting to slow down a little bit with no vote this week, but hopefully in the next episode we get a tribe swap or merge or something interesting just to keep things moving along. Of course, I'll be back to recap the future episodes with you all next week, but until then, peace.